Good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for the introduction. I'd like to give a special welcome to the Prime Minister, Malcolm Turnbull, who's come along to join us tonight. And the Prime Minister has made his time available for us tonight, despite having pressing national security commitments this evening. So we really appreciate you coming along. We know how important your schedule is and the things that you get involved in, and we really appreciate that you've taken the time to come and join us. Unfortunately, the opposition leader, Bill Shorten, was unable to join us tonight for drinks. Bill was going to come along and spend about half an hour with us. He had other commitments. He unfortunately had parliamentary commitments this afternoon and couldn't make it, but he will be trying to come along later on tonight. So in his absence, thank him for attempting to get here. Thanks very much. We have with us the Shadow Minister for Agriculture, Fisheries and Forestry, Joel Fitzgibbon, and Joel will be speaking on behalf of the opposition leader a little later. He will be joined on stage by his co-chair of the Parliamentary Friends of Forestry and Forest Products Group, Tony Passon MP. Also, I'd like to welcome the Deputy Prime Minister, Barnaby Joyce, who is here with us tonight, the Minister for Environment, Can I ask you to hold your applause until the end? There's a long list here. The Minister for the Environment, Josh Frydenberg. Minister for Infrastructure, Darren Chester. Minister for Industry, Arthur Sinodinos. President of the Senate, Senator Parry. Assistant Ministers with responsibility for forestry, Anne Ruston, and other Assistant Ministers, Laundy, Hartsiger, Gillespie, McCormack. Shadow Ministers Carr, Dreyfus, O'Connor, Chesters and Kelly, and Members of Parliament. And there are some 45 of you present, too many to thank individually, so please, ladies and gentlemen, pat them on the back or shake their hand and give them some applause. Also, I'd like to welcome Darryl Quinn-Libben, the Secretary to the Department of Agriculture. We also have two tables of colleagues from New Zealand. Thank you for making the journey across the ditch to be with us tonight. We have the President of the National Farmers Federation, Fiona Simpson, and the whole board and CEO of the NFF with us as well. The co-chair of the Forest Industries Advisory Council, Rob DeFageley, is here. The Australian Industry Group is here represented by its CEO, Innes Willicks. Thanks for coming along, Innes. And industry chairs, CEOs, and my fellow AFPA directors, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for attending. I want to say, before I move on to the rest of my speech, I want to say a special thank you to Anne Ruston. And I don't know if you've seen the press release today, but Anne has been instrumental in getting a press release which has come out today of ministerial forestry statement signed by most, or only one missing state from it, and that's for no bad intent reason, I believe, where various state governments have come out and issuing their full support for the expansion and continued prosperity of the forest industry in Australia, which is a really fantastic effort. We really appreciate that, Minister. Thank you very much. I'd now like to introduce you to somebody else, and this is Damien Ambrose. We got the footage going. Oh, this is Damien Ambrose. He's the service manager at One Track. That's him in front of the business in Tumut. In that shed behind Damien, there are 10 people working on servicing equipment which some of our businesses use. Damien tells me there's another 50 people working for his company spread across the country doing similar work. I wanted you to meet Damien down there in regional Tumut to help you put a face onto the following statistics. Forest industries in this country deliver a massive community benefit through high quality, well-paid, year-round, meaningful jobs. Jobs which don't come and go with the tourist season. Jobs in managing sustainable forests, harvesting, hauling the logs out, regenerating and replanting the areas which have been harvested, looking after forest health as the trees regrow, fighting bushfires, sawmilling, making paper products, and creating new engineered wood products and bioproducts. If you include the folks who turn timber into products, like the framing and roof trusses you see in our houses, there are some 120,000 Australians who derive their direct employment out of forestry. When you include the indirect jobs, like those being performed by Damien and his team at Tumut, you're now talking about some 300,000 people. We generate some $23 billion in economic activity and make up 6% of manufacturing GDP. Prime Minister, those are the facts to make you smile. So far, so good. But there are 4 more facts to ponder. Fact 1, the globe is using non-renewable resources at a rate which means that by 2050, when we have to house, clothe and feed 9.5 billion people, we will need, by some estimates, 3 planets' worth of resources. Fact 2, every serious environmental organisation, the UN plus serious development agencies such as the World Bank, agree that sustainably managed forestry operation, where every tree which is harvested is replaced, as we do in Australia, must be a big part of that answer. Fact 3, Australia is the 7th most forested nation on earth. Fact 4, and this is the one I really wish to emphasise to you, whilst this nation exports about $3 billion worth of forest products each year, we import $5.5 billion worth of forest products. And Prime Minister, that's just not good enough. We should be helping to provide the sustainable renewable timber and wood fibre resource the globe needs, not continually taking in more than we're sending out to the needy world. How do we change the import deficit? We need to grow. Scale brings great economies. We are proud that Australia has some of the best environmental standards for native forests and plantations, and our workers have some of the highest standards of living in the world. However, this means our products carry some extra costs not borne by other countries. We're a high-cost manufacturing country. I think everyone knows that. We face very real challenges in spiralling energy costs, and we have other high input costs. But we have much in our favour. We have a highly skilled people, best practice forest management, and many productive forest regions, so we must grow. We are pleased to have seen the government deliver some great things for our industries over the past few years. The CFI plantation forestry methodology, the Tasmanian RFA, R&D investment in Mount Gambier and Launceston. Thank you, Prime Minister, Assistant Minister Ruston, and all those involved in delivering those key outcomes for our industry over the last 2 years. The missing piece, though, is new vision and plan shared by industry and government of the future of our industries in Australia. The policy documents guiding our industries are now the 1992 Forest Statement and the 1997 Vision 2020 Plantations. They're both last century documents, generations old, and we're a very different industry to what we were in the 20th century. Prime Minister, we look forward to continuing to work with you and your teams towards a new vision for our sector. Joel Fitzgibbon, we also seek support of the ALP. Our industries have been buffeted by political point scoring in past years. It's great relief to us all that those days seem over. Thank you very much. I'd like now to invite a great champion of the industry to the stage, the Assistant Minister with responsibility for Forestry, Senator Anne Ruston, to introduce the Prime Minister. Thank you, Anne.